I'm Dr. Orion AI, and this is Psychacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is how to stop having panic attacks without medication. This will be the second part of my talk on the subject, so if you haven't done so already, you might want to check out part 1 before continuing. So, where were we? Basically, we were discussing how panic disorder is a dysfunction in the mechanism of attention. The intention to protect yourself from panic attacks leads to checking behavior, which leads to finding the signs of early onset panic, which are disturbed and intensified by our attention, which are interpreted and validated in a highly negative light. Now, all of this can happen very, very quickly, but it always happens in that sequence of events. On some level, panic attacks are actually a completely self-created problem, which I guess is a good thing, because if it's self-created, we can self-solve it. Now, how do we do that? First and foremost, you need to stop checking. This is hard to do, but it's absolutely essential. You have to stop checking your pulse or taking your temperature or feeling for the tightness in your chest or whatever it is you do to determine whether you're experiencing the early onset symptoms of a panic attack. You have to stop checking. There's going to be this impulse to go and check, but you're going to have to block it. It's just like a craving to use or to engage in a bad habit. Do something else and the impulse will pass. And this is important because if you don't check, then the whole process that I just described gets nipped in the bud. It just doesn't move forward. All right, but let's say you do check and you find something abnormal. Now what do? Well, in that case, the best thing you can do is to try to disrupt the catastrophic thought cascade that leads to the fluorescence of the panic attack as quickly as possible. You can do this by distracting yourself. A great way to distract yourself is to use the serial 7s technique. You can check out my episode on serial 7s if you want to know more about this. Or you could name all the capitals of Europe, or you could translate a song into another language, or you could jump in a cold shower, or you could mindfully attend to your environment. Anything to get you out of your head or to disrupt the process from moving on to the next step. All right, but let's say you checked and you didn't distract yourself. And now you're starting to feel your racing heart or your rising temperature. And you're aware of your negative judgment. Oh, this is bad. I'm starting to have a panic attack. Oh boy. Well, you can intervene here as well. The best way to do that is to attack the interpretation using the block and replace technique. And you can check out my episode on the block and replace technique if you want to know more about this. For instance, you could say, no, it's not true that I'm having a heart attack. I've experienced this before. It's normal for heart rate to be variable. Sometimes my heart is beating slower. Sometimes my heart is beating faster. This is one of those times. It will go away by itself in a few minutes. It's perfectly fine. This has happened before, and I was fine before too long. So, don't check. Distract yourself as quickly as possible and block and replace any negative judgments about what's happening to you. And if, for whatever reason, the ball slips by all 3 of these goalies, then you're in emotional coping mode now, and you just need to do what you can to mitigate the damage. That might mean putting on some soft music, wrapping yourself in a nice warm blanket, or having a cup of herbal tea. Whatever you need to do to make yourself feel safe and comfortable, and then allow the process to take its course. Now, it's normal in the course of treatment for panic attacks to continue to happen a few times as you get better at mastering these techniques. But generally, within a few weeks to a few months, a person can, with sufficient discipline, break the dysfunctional pattern of attention that undergirds the mechanism of panic attacks so that they stop happening entirely. This has been true in my own life, and it's been true in the lives of dozens of the people I've worked with on this very problem. I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to send this to someone who might need to hear it. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the algorithm. And if you'd like to schedule a consultation, you can reach me at psychackspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.